Hello, everybody. Dan Ward here, giving you my thoughts and opinions on the sports. It's the Ward on Sports. We're talking the Elite Eight after we just did the Sweet 16. Time to update that and give you a look here at the games for the Elite Eight. I am recording this on Saturday, trying to get this out to you before the first game tonight, 6 o'clock, Houston versus Villanova. So let's just get right into it. First, we'll take a look back at what we called for the Sweet 16, what I called. First, we had Gonzaga versus Arkansas. I said Gonzaga minus 9.5 and the under. Really thought they were going to be more prepared for this game. Arkansas showed up. Arkansas money line was the best bet for any of you betting at home. The under did hit. So 1-1, lose 1 right there for that first game. A little shaky to start, but we're doing all right. Not going to lie, that Thursday was definitely a far worse day than Friday. You'll see that as we continue. Texas Tech versus Duke. I said Texas Tech minus 1.5. Duke ended up pulling that game out. Duke money line would have been best, and the over hit by far. If you thought that Duke was going to win, that would have made sense for you to take the over, because that's the only way the Duke is going to win these games. Their offense takes over, rather than the Texas Tech defense, which I thought was going to take over. Houston versus Arizona. Really thought Arizona was going to show that they are the best team in the nation this year, but alas, looks like that might actually be Houston. Took Arizona minus 1.5, and the over money line for Houston hit and way under. This has been a tournament of the unders, and you will see that we're just going to jump ahead. 7 of the 8 games, the under hit. And going back into the tournament, I know that the under has hit a lot, so it has been pretty crazy. Michigan versus Villanova. I said Michigan plus 4.5. They let me down. Villanova minus 4.5, and the under hit. I was shaky about the over-under on that game. Wasn't sure which way to go, so didn't put anything on that one. Then we go to the next day, Providence versus Kansas. Providence plus 7.5, and the over. The spread hit. They only lost by, I believe, 5, but it, again, was a match of the unders. Iowa State versus Miami. This one we were perfect. Minus 2.5 for Miami, and the under. Both of those hit. UNC versus UCLA. UNC money line, and the over was predicted. The UNC part hit, but the under was the option. And then St. Peter's versus Purdue. Those pesky Peacocks filling up the spread and taking the money line as well, defeating Purdue. So I was right with the spread, didn't touch the over-under. The under hit on that one. So as you heard from that, Friday was a much better day than Thursday. So with that being said, moving on to the Elite 8 picks, we were 6-7 overall, but 4 for 4 on Saturday with predicting the spread or the outright winner. So things are on the up and up for these betting trends. So now we move forward, Elite 8. First matchup, Houston versus Villanova. Houston is the favorite as a 5 seed, going against a 2 seed. You don't really see that very often, but again, Houston continuing to show that they should have been a top 3 seed in this tournament. Houston has scored 68 plus in 12 of their last 13 and have held opponents to under 60 in 5 of their last 10. So yes, 50-50 split, but that line of 60 is going to be very important. Villanova likes to play at a very slow pace, but they are highly efficient. They held Michigan to just 55 points, and they're averaging less than 60 points allowed in this tournament. So this is going to be another grinded out game. Both teams have the potential to score a lot, but both teams are very strong on defense. So that will play an interesting role as we predict the over-under. Villanova had a good game, had a good game plan against Michigan, rather. So against Hunter Dickinson, they really slowed him down, and they said somebody else needs to beat us, and nobody else was able to do that. So that could come in handy against Houston. They can try to identify somebody, but Houston also has 5 guys that can score the ball. They rely heavily on their starters, and that makes it harder to try to pinpoint 1 or 2 guys to try to focus on. So that could be a problem for Villanova. Villanova also saw Colin Gillespie get hurt at the end of their last game. All the reports say that he's fine, but if he's not 100%, I don't think Villanova stands a chance in this game. They need their point guard to be ready to go and to win these NCAA tournaments. If he's not 100%, I'm not liking the Wildcats. Now, history is on their side. The last 2 times that they beat Michigan in the NCAA tournament, they went on to win the whole thing. So they just beat Michigan, so that should mean that they're going to win the NCAA tournament again. Do you want to go for the 3-beat? Do you want to follow history? Do you want to go with a hot team right now? The hot team right now are the Cougars. They're playing in San Antonio, so it's going to be more of a home game for them. The crowd should definitely be a Cougar, a red side. That should be more red in the stands, so that could definitely help Houston. I don't think Villanova is going to be heavily affected by that, but definitely something to think about. So I'm going to take the Houston Cougars in a grind-it-out game, a low-scoring affair. I think it's going to be extremely tight, and actually this comes down to the referees. If the referees are going to call a lot of fouls game, then I think that bodes well for Villanova. They are a much better free throw shooting team. They can force Houston into foul trouble. They're not a very deep team. So if Houston all of a sudden has a couple starters have to leave the game for long periods of time, that will certainly help Villanova. If the referees continue to call it more on the physical side, allowing teams to play, then Houston should take care of business, albeit still in a close game. Houston money line rather than the spread in this one, because it definitely could come down to just one possession. It's only, I think, 2.5 points, but still play it on the safer side as it's not a heavy favorite for the Cougars. And then the over-under is a very low one, 127.5, 126.5 in some places. Still think you need to lean towards the under, following the trends of the tournament, following that this is going to be a defensive battle. Arkansas versus Duke is your classic defense versus offense battle. Arkansas can compete with anybody. They will play a low-scoring game as they did against New Mexico State. They'll play a high-scoring game as they did against Vermont and their last game against Gonzaga. So they've had point differentials of just 4, 5, and 6. Duke has had point differentials of 17, 9, and 5 here in this tournament. So those two different spreads are a little bit different. Duke's offense has been on fire. Arkansas has had very close games. Neither team turns the ball over very much. Arkansas, again, is definitely the better defense. Paolo Banchero is looking like the number one pick in the draft. He is proving it with this tournament, and he is part of the reason why Duke is doing so well. I don't see a reason why he shouldn't continue to play well against Arkansas. I think that the whole team is buying in to helping Coach K win his final game. And even though that story seems like it's too good to be true, or it's so obvious, like that Coach K would end winning the whole thing, it's looking more and more like it's about to happen. So I'm leaning towards Duke in this one. Again, seems like just the thing that's going to happen. Duke should win. Duke's offense is on fire. They've been carrying this team right now. And Arkansas, I wasn't really expecting them to beat Gonzaga at all. Obviously, they keep winning, so I should probably give them more credit. But I got to just go with the Duke Blue Devils. They are one of the best teams in the nation. They've been one of the best teams all year long. And I think that they have more talent, and I think Paolo Banchero is playing at a level that allows him to carry the load. 147.5 is high, especially for this tournament. That is the current over-under. If anyone's going to ruin that, it is Duke, but that also means that it's a predicted score of 77 to 73 with a 4-point spread, 3.5 points in some places. So again, with the trend of the tournament, I want to lean towards the under. But since both teams are scoring the basketball really well, because Duke has hit the over in, I'm pretty sure, all of their games thus far, and we're picking Duke in this one, we will take them as a slight over, and we'll take the points. Duke -4 and the over in this one. Kansas versus Miami, Big 12 versus ACC. Kansas, the last number 1 seed left, playing the slide under the radar very, very strongly. Even though they're number 1 seed, not a lot of people have talked about them. They are an efficient team. We talked about this last time. Nothing they do is exceptional, but they also don't do anything bad. They do everything very well. So far in the tournament, that has been the case. A couple of close games against Providence and Creighton. Is that against the Big East, the style of play works well against Kansas? Or is that just their method? They stay right in the game and just take it away from you kind of at the end, or they build a lead and then never give it up. They'll keep it close-ish, but they never give you a chance to win. Miami, meanwhile, has been scoring the ball very well, despite not shooting from 3 very well over the course of 3 games. They are also keeping opponents very low scoring. So they are looking like a really strong team right now. It's kind of a toss-up at this point. I think that Kansas is the obvious pick. Their size should certainly help them. They do have better shooting. That should do well against the Miami defense, even though they have played really well. Neither team's turning the ball over very much. Miami has been forcing a lot of turnovers, but I don't know if that's really going to handle well against Kansas. So the size is in Kansas's favor. The overall team, their overall play is in their favor, but the tournament is on the side of Miami. This is an underdog tournament, and they have history going for them as Jim Larrañaga tries to lead the second double-digit team to the Final Four. So which side do you like? Yeah, I kind of love the history. I want to take Miami. I kind of think Kansas is going to win this game, but I think it will be close. So as far as the points are concerned, or the bets are concerned, +6 on the Miami side with an over-underline also of 147. We're iffy about Duke and Arkansas. Way under on this one. I don't think 147 is going to come up even close. These teams are going to slow it down, play a much more tightly contested affair. Kansas wants to run a little bit. Miami likes to be athletic, but I don't think in the Elite 8 with these two teams that haven't proven to be 80-point scorers consistently or 90-point scorers consistently, 147, 6-point deficit, that real quick is like 78 to 73, something like that. That's not even 6 points. But regardless, hit the under on this one. And then last but certainly not least, St. Peter's versus UNC. All bets are off in this one. You're talking about a 15 seed, so all the stats are going to go UNC's way. St. Peter's wasn't even like a thought on anybody's mind coming into this tournament. So if you look at the season stats, UNC is going to have them all. But in this tournament, they have handled everybody and they have played to their opponent. They've played better than their opponents. They scored 85 against Kentucky and then they held Purdue to just 64 points. So they're doing it on both sides of the basketball. And they are doing what they need to do to win. They're a super smart team, a super fundamental team. They switch things up on defense throughout the game. They recognize issues in the game and they look to either exploit them offensively or switch things up so that they are not as big of a weakness on the defensive side. Whether or not the other teams switch things up, that's been up to them. Purdue didn't really make the proper changes, and they ended up losing to the Peacocks. So for this one, throw everything out. It's a toss-up. You should be rooting for the Peacocks because this is such a great story. I think even if you're a UNC fan, you obviously are going to root for your team. But at the same time, you'd kind of be like, well, you know what? This is awesome. The freaking St. Peter's Peacocks, a school that has like 3,000 people or something like that. It's insane. A 15 seed has never made it this far. A 15 seed has never made it to the Final Four. Nothing. I think only 11. I think 11 is the lowest seed to make it to the Final Four. So this will blow that out of the water. So I want to root for the Peacocks. Could Caleb Love go off for 30? Yes, in which case UNC will destroy this game. It won't even be close. But what are the odds of that happening again? Caleb Love's last performance was phenomenal, and I feel like it was a one-game thing. So St. Peter's, you have no reason to bet against them as far as the spread is concerned, even though the spread continues to be large. Plus 13 was obviously insane against Purdue. Now it's at plus 8. I'm definitely snagging those plus 8 points again. Ride with the Peacocks. Hopefully the money line hits like it did last time. Playing it on the safe side with the spread. UNC has a better offense than Purdue, so that over-under of 137 is a little bit worrisome, but the over-under of 135 hit the under against Purdue and the Peacocks, so I think it will hit the under again, UNC and the Peacocks. So plus 8, the under. Let's go Peacocks, but UNC is probably going to win. Which means the Final Four is Houston, Duke, Kansas, UNC, a rematch of Duke versus UNC. Coach K's final game, potentially, or is he going to finish it all in the championship? Then you have the powerhouse of the Big 12 going against the powerhouse of the American. So take with that as you wish. Glad I could get this video out for you. Thank you all very much. We will talk what the real Final Four is next week. So thank you all again. Good luck with your bets. Have a lot of fun. That's the biggest thing. Place whatever you feel like playing. Gamble responsibly. But at the end of the day, enjoy these basketball games because all of them should be great. Talk to you all next time. Thanks again for watching. See you later.